Good afternoon, Commissioners. I hope you had a nice lunch. If you're in on this side of the podium, you don't eat lunch until after you're done, just in case you don't want to have any of those nasty little, you know what I mean. Anyway, regardless. Okay. I first of all appreciate what you have to do, and it's not an easy job. The world of the commissioner, I sit and watch you every week, and it is not an easy job. And I commend you for the decisions you have to make. And with that, I will start. The mission statement for the Shawnee County Clerk's Office is, we are dedicated to the taxpayers of Shawnee County. We strive to fulfill the statutory duties of the office in a prompt and efficient manner, and we continue to make customer service, accuracy, and transparency our top priority. With this, our goal and our philosophy for every day is to focus on customer service and communicate effectively with the public, all county departments, and state agencies. The office is dedicated, again, to the taxpayers of the county and will continue to provide timely assistance and accurate information, which is, I'm sure, what everybody wants of their county clerk's office, seeing as how we do handle all of the CORAs, Kansas Open Records Act. My department consists of 5 divisions. They are the administrative, real estate, economic development and budget, accounting, and payroll. In this, I will give you a brief description of each of those as they stand now, with some other information as to what we're planning on doing going into 15. The current administration division consists of 2 employees. The county clerk and the administrative division staff attend all public meetings of the county commissioners in the capacity of secretaries. This division works closely with the county clerk on a daily basis. And the administrative staff is responsible for the retention of all the documents approved by the commissioners, and they respond timely to all Kansas Open Record Act requests, process applications for cereal malt beverage licenses and claims against the county, assist the public's complete the applications for homestead food sales tax forms, and they recently have taken on, and this is going forward, the vacation of roads, fence views, and working with our economic development division. This division also maintains all of our files. They prepare and maintain all of our files for future reference, our future research projects. In our real estate division, I have 3 employees. And the supervisor of the real estate division is the chief deputy for the office, and is fully responsible for the office in the absence of the county clerk. This division works closely with the Register of Deeds, appraiser, treasurer, and county counselor. Collectively, they produce information that is used to establish an assessment roll, a tax roll, and ultimately our tax statements. This division balances 7 motor vehicle distributions for the county each year. The staff in this division provides service ranging from the office receptionist to compiling and balancing abstracts and reports submitted to the state of Kansas. They have a statutory duty to process the deeds and court orders to maintain an updated ownership file for our real estate records. And they are currently in the middle of transitioning from our old mainframe tax system to our new tax administration solution, which is TAS, and the company name is Computer Information Concepts. This software will allow many efficiencies for this division. One thing that we know for sure, one particular report that we prepare annually currently takes about 1 full day for an employee in this division to prepare. Under this new software, after the information was loaded, we were able to prepare that same report in a matter of minutes. So, it is not going to mean that, obviously, that we won't need an employee, but it just means our time will be able to be used more effectively. In the economic development division, or economic development and the budget division. We currently have one employee. This division works closely with the taxing entities in Shawnee County. The responsibilities of this division span from reviewing and assisting these entities with their filing of their annual reports to entering the budget information they provide into the software provided by the state. Most of the taxing entities in Shawnee County are very small, and this division provides an invaluable service to them. They also work closely with the County Counselor's Office in accepting and processing applications for the economic development to be presented to the Board of County Commissioners. They also work closely with the Chamber of Commerce in preparation of the cost-benefit analysis used in determining the fiscal impact that these economic developments will have on the taxpayers of Shawnee County. Currently, an employee from the accounting division is training to assume the duties of the economic development budget officer upon her retirement. The current plan is having the retiring employee to come back to assist during budget season, and the new employee taking her position will offer assistance to accounting when needed. In accounting, we have 5 employees. This division works closely with the Audit Finance Department as well as the external auditors of the county. They process the invoices for all departments in Shawnee County. There are currently over 10,000 vendors, and we pay approximately half of these vendors each month. This division prepares reports to be filed with the State Treasurer, Kansas Department of Revenue, and the IRS. They are the repository for all of the Shawnee County automobile titles. They manage the property insurance and maintain the fixed assets and infrastructure file. There are currently 4 employees and 1 supervisor. And there again, too, one of these employees is currently training to assume the duties of the economic development budget officer, and there are no plans at this time to replace this position in accounting. I did not put that position into my budget for a replacement. So, and in payroll, I have 2 employees. This division is responsible for processing and balancing the computer-generated payroll for over 1,100 full-time employees and 650 intermittent, and that number can swell when you combine our Parks and Rec summer help with the elections staff as well. They obviously do this 26 times a year, or 27 if you count 2015. The county clerk is the administrator of payroll, health insurance, and life insurance, as well as the designated agent for KPERS and KP&F. This division monitors and enters all requests for garnishments, child support, tax levies, and other court-ordered payments. When we converted to the new SunGuard payroll software back in 2009, the trainers at that time from the software company told us that the industry standard for payroll is approximately a 95% accuracy. In Shawnee County, that would amount to 55 errors every pay period of 55 errors of some sort. And we are very proud to say that that is not the case here in Shawnee County. I wanted to give you a little bit of history on the Shawnee County Clerk's Office. My office is established under the statutory authority of KSA 19-301 et sec. And the county clerk is mentioned in the Kansas statutes over 1,000 times. I don't know who took the time to count that. However, if you ever, every once in a while, even we are surprised, even with the amount of history I have in my office, every once in a while someone will come along and say, oh yes, we're supposed to file that with the county clerk. Really? Well, that's what we find out. However, this, and like I said, I am the Kansas Open Record, Kansas Open Records official. I am the privacy officer for HIPAA, because we have to, all those things have to be obviously designated, and also through the Freedom of Information Act, we are very conscientious about providing timely and correct information, no matter the request. And we work with other departments to try to maintain the same thing. And we also work closely with the county counselor's office when it comes to that, because there are some times when it just is we don't understand why they're asking, or if we're even, if what the question is, and that's what he's there for. And I wanted to give you a little background on where I stand currently on my 2014 budget, if you will give me just a little bit of leeway on this. The 2014 budget has proven to be very challenging because there's only enough funding for personnel expenses. Now, this was a choice made by the county clerk. After the 2014 budget was approved, there were two available options to me. Lay off more employees, which I did lay off one 3/4-time employee, or try to make it through the year without any additional funds, but with full staff. This has been interesting at times. There are no funds for office supplies, training, telephone, either monthly service or long distance. And by the way, I found out that they charge us $6.28 a month, even if you don't use make any long distance calls. Membership fees, am not a dues paying member of my association. And there are no funds budgeted for 3 employees who are currently eligible for retirement. And this does offer a big concern to me because in our budget paperwork, it's clearly spelled out that if you have an employee that's going to retire and you did not budget for them, you have to take it out of your budget. Now, the reason I didn't budget, I used some of that funds this year is because the one individual who possibly would, if all the stars aligned, that would retire this year, I did work with our financial administrator, and we knew that there was sufficient funding in the retirement fund already. So I'm not being careless with it. It's just one of those budget cuts I made as thinking it was in the best interest of the office. As a cost saving also, we asked IT to remove a couple of phones that were not being used. That's another thing that we did not realize, that if you have phones sitting, and we had, I think, 3 or 4 of them, that nobody's using, we are being charged on a per phone basis by the telephone company. And that was nice. And like I said, we do not allow long-distance phone calls. And this occasionally gets a little awkward. But, when a business or an individual calls for a specific person who is not there and then asks to have them return their call. However, my staff has gotten very, very good about explaining to them we have budget cuts. We are not allowed to make long-distance phone calls. And I don't know yet of one person that hasn't either given us their email so we can communicate with them, or they'll say, do you think that person will be available in an hour? I'll just call back. So it's just a matter of how you work through things. All of our office supplies, I say 95% of our office supplies are purchased by me personally. Sometimes items are purchased directly. I might just go over to Walmart or Office Depot and find some supplies and bring them to the office. And other times I will actually order them through the county's vendor, and when the invoice comes in, I pay the invoice to the accounts payable supervisor. She then deposits the money in our bank budget, and then we pay the invoice from the budget. That way, I'm not paying for sales tax for items that are be used. I'm taking advantage. Don't laugh. It's a way to cost savings. And we are also in the middle of implementing our new CIC TAS tax software. The part of the software that most affects my office has just gotten started. We're making every effort on our daily work, along with the training and the additional input into the new software, to do this during normal business hours, because I have no allowance whatsoever for any kind of overtime. It is with a great deal of pride that I can say that we have had many other cuts, but continue to do our jobs, paying the employees, processing our invoices, balancing distribution, answering quoras, and working with the economic development as expected by the public, the departments, and the commissioners. The county clerk staff is truly the best in the county. Now, as for budget year 2015, I know all departments were instructed to present a flat budget, with the exception of the additional pay period that will occur in 2015. The county clerk's budget is not a flat budget for 2015. The increase to the 2015 budget over 2014 is $79,483. Of that, 27,136 is the additional pay period with benefits, and the remaining 52,347 is for retirement expenses for 4 employees and office expenses added back in. Now, with the retirement, this current year, I have 3 employees that are eligible for retirement. Going into 15, I have a new employee who will be eligible. And always that first year of eligibility, there's a larger, depending on how much sick leave and annual leave they already have, it's always a larger sum of money. Even with the increase to my budget, I have no extras. I have no frills added in. There's only $200 allocated for training for budget and abstract classes through the state. And these are required, and it's rather, as an aside, it's rather interesting, these classes used to be provided to us by the state for free. But when they started having budget cuts, they started charging for these training sessions. So it's rather interesting to offset their own budget cuts. We have there's no one below us, so we can't do that. The new tax software from CIC does offer some training and an annual symposium, but these expenses are not included in my budget. We chose to, as we're looking over the budget, we chose to have the funds available to purchase paper, toner for our printers, and other soft office supplies. However, we will attend the training required for our new tax software, and we just will not be staying overnight, and we will be doing it with me driving, so there won't be any need for reimbursement to the employees. Now, a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. The passage of House Bill 2643 will provide a never-before seen revenue source for the county clerk's office. According to the language of this bill, a county clerk technology fund will be established wherein an additional 50 cents per page will be charged on documents recorded in the office of the Register of Deeds, and they will be deposited into this fund. I've been told that on a very rough estimate, this could be anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 of revenue in 2015. And this figure was based on actual how many pages were filed in the Register of Deeds office, and they use the 2013 figure. So there's, like I said, that's why I gave you $30,000 to $50,000. But the use of these funds is very restricted under statute again. Considering the requested increase that I am presenting to you over and above the additional pay period, I'm proposing that the funding this office would receive from this new revenue stream be used to offset some of the maintenance fees the county will have to pay for this new tax software next year. This, in addition to, we know we're going to have this maintenance fee. Don't know the dollar amount of it, and I don't think I will be able to cover all of it. But the good thing about it is this is a qualifying expenditure under this law. This department has a wonderful history of doing more with less, and that is how we will continue. Our goals for the department will not change. We will continue to focus on customer service and communicate effectively with the public, all county departments and state agencies, as this office is dedicated to the taxpayers of Shawnee County and will work to provide timely assistance and accurate information. Commissioners, if you have any questions?
Commissioner Bueller?
I'm going to yield to anyone else who wants to start.
Commissioner Cook?
Okay, I'll start off. I have a couple of questions. Ms. Beck, can you tell me why, this happened I know well before I got here, but why is the payroll under the clerk's office? Why is payroll not under audit finance? I know that's just shifting it from one to the other. It doesn't really solve any problems for anybody, but is there a reason or statutory reason why payroll is under the clerk?
No, it is just clerks. Historically, it's been in this office.
You just got it.
Yeah, I don't know why you would want it in audit finance, though, because they actually audit our records.
Okay.
That, to me, that would be because then you have a very definite line, even if you had it as a piece of audit finance, as the actual person or department head in charge of that area, it's, it would just seem like it would be a much cleaner, payroll is done by this department, audit finance actually audits what they do, what they, with the information they put in, which they do every pay period.
And what I'm looking at is down the road, was we talk about allocation of duties and responsibilities for departments, just trying to get a handle on how did things wind up where they're at. And so
They've been-
looking at, as we look at the budget, looking at people's responsibilities and, your costs that you have. The next question I have is, when you said there's an accountant that's leaving and you're not going to replace the accountant. Can you give me a little bit more?
Well, it's not account,
Or-
it's an accounting,
Account-
it's accounts payable employee. What we're hoping to do is, by shifting some of the responsibilities from the Economic Development and Budget Division, some of them will shift over to administration, and that will free up some of the time, hopefully, for the new individual that's coming in as the Economic Development and Budget Officer to, in any spare time, to pick up some slack for the accounts payable area. Because this individual is the one right now who does all of our, sets up our new vendors. So it's she does that regularly, and that's, very great assistance for accounts payable. She currently is working half-time for one division, half-time for the other, until one of the other divisions gets real busy, and then she has to switch. But we're not above doing this. I mean, this is what the office is about, is we work together, coordinate.
I just didn't know if not replacing the position is actually going to make things substantially worse.
I can't. All I did was, I'm trying to make my budget as palatable as I can and still have a budget I can work with next year. I see, at this point in time, I have no idea when the budget officer is even going to retire, if it's going to be next year. See, I just have to, I obviously can't, they're not required to come and say, how long in advance. That's kind of infringing on employees' rights. I know that I know that she is planning to retire, but I don't know exactly when. If she retired in March, it would be much different than if she retired in, say, July or September or October. But I have both of them, their salaries are budgeted for 15, for the 15 budget at this time.
In your administrative duties descriptor, you detail that there was a research project that took over a week of an employee's time to do. That's all that employee worked on for a whole week.
Well, yes, and there are occasions where we will, when someone calls and asks for a project, some research done, it can be somebody from the public, it can be somebody from a department. I mean, not just anybody, but it can be a department that is asking this information. It can be the commission office cannot call and ask for this information. We don't, when we do research projects, they're treated similar to an open records request. Because when someone's asking this information, they're not just wanting it just for their edification. They're actually wanting this information for, in a timely manner and for something that obviously they're working on. We get, every once in a while, we'll get requests from your office here. You may ask Jane or someone for, do you know this? And then she doesn't have the information, she will contact us. You want your information timely, so we turn around and do that.
Do we have any ability to recoup any of that research time?
Not that
I mean, that
know
would be
of.
separate from Cora.
Yeah.
I mean, Cora
It would
actually
be-
talks about the production of the documents.
It would be taking money out of this pocket and put it in this pocket because I'm a general fund department. So if I could charge you for my staff's time, but it's kind of, it's kind of,
Like I said, I'm just trying to look at, You know,
Yeah.
if there's any other revenue, I mean, ways to recoup your costs when you're, you've asked for 79,400
Mhm.
and, but I'll round up to 80,000 just
Mhm.
for the sake of discussion. Is that a realistic need for an increase of your office, or do you think that's selling it short? Does it need more?
Well, that, like I said, is putting us with $2,835 for contractual services, so I could actually I have two retrievers in my office because I don't have the staff to get all of my scanning done that we need. But I have two old retrievers in my office that we had, up till this year, had and $685 or $635 annual maintenance on each. And they come out from Kansas City, it's the closest company, to inspect them, you know, oil them, make sure that everything works. So that, and then, like I said, the $100 employee, $100 for reimbursement for mileage. We utilize if I have my employee that is the fixed asset manager. He actually uses the county counselor's county vehicle, probably 90% of the time. But it's their vehicle, and if they're using it, then he has to use his own vehicle. So we have just a limited amount there. And then the $200 for training, and that's to the penny, because it's $50 or $25 each for the let's see, $25 I think for the abstract class, 25 or 50 for the budget class, so that covers the number of people times the amount. My $200 for my membership fee, and then $1,000 for telephone, and we'll still be very frugal with our long distance calls.
And the last question I had is, can you tell me a little bit more about this peddler and transient merchant license?
Okay, if you have somebody, perfect example is, one year we get a call from a person who wants to sell T-shirts and koozies and such like as you're going into Heartland Park. Now, Heartland Park is city of Topeka, but right on the outside, that's county. So in order for them to be able to sell that, it depends. Peddlers and transient merchants they're pretty much the same thing. It's just a statutory definition of what one is and what the other is. And
I mean, does it cover, I mean, when I hear transient merchants, I mean, does it cover out-of-state roofers?
Well, we don't. That is handled through, if they have to get a permit and stuff, through planning. But if they're supposed to have it, we don't have an overabundance of them coming to the office to do. Now, in the city, they're easier to catch because they have something very similar in the city.
We have budgeted $150 income.
I know, and you'd be surprised. We do every once in a while. We'll get them come in and they they're not very pricey. I'm thinking they're $25 or something for that. But we do sell them, and we also don't even order we used to years and years ago order certificates printed by Topeka Blueprint or something like that had all this stuff on there. Now we have, with our wonderful printers and our software that we have, we get nice bond paper, just off-white bond paper, and we can put the little borders on them, make them all look nice. All of our cereal malt beverage licenses that Commissioner Archer signs every time, those are fully from the paper on up to the very top. They're all executed through the office, which is, another one of those things. They were pricey. I mean, used to get them, and, having something specially printed, was very expensive, and no cost at all now.
Okay, that's the questions I had. Did I buy enough time, Commissioner Bueller?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the math here, okay?
Looking at the map.
So 2014 budget was $769,430, correct? Okay, so
769.
430? Is that what you have?
Oh, I'm looking at, yeah, that's right.
Mhm. And then, so you add in the extra pay period, and then it brings it to $796,567.
Yes.
Correct? but your total request is $876.50, right?
Mhm.
And so the difference of that is 79,483. What
Right.
is, so you've mentioned some things.
Yeah.
So break down that 79,000
Okay,
for me,
the-
on what
the,
the increases are.
Yeah, the 30,
So 38,708 for retirement? Is
right,
that right?
yeah, that 38,708 is retirement.
Okay.
And then you've got the 2835 is for
s-
contractual services.
Right,
And you've got, and $4,500
Right.
is for our office supplies.
right.
And
What-
then the 22,152 and 4984, those two numbers are the additional pay period.
Okay, so why, are we counting it twice?
Yeah,
We're counting it twice.
the extra pay period we count twice.
Well, okay, so if you go back to 769,430 is last year, then you put in the
New pay
extra pay
period.
period, which brings it to 796,567.
Mhm.
Right.
But her request is 576.50. And I'm seeing the difference, so then we see a difference request and flat budget of 79,483. So the
79,
483 is,
563.
I'm seeing 79,483 is in this column.
I'm sorry, what are you showing? The flat
Yeah.
budget would be
So the flat.
796.
Right, 567.
567.
Yes, that's a flat budget.
Okay, but then she's
And that's
requesting.
including the extra pay period.
Right, but then she's requesting the 576.50.
Right, so that's 79.
576.50 is that,
Right,
that's 79,483.
yes.
And what I
that's-
asked was, what makes up that 79,483?
Yeah. Because the
And-
27,000 for the extra pay period is already
Already built
included.
in, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But
That
so,
makes sense? Yeah.
so I don't know if that, is that column, the percentages have increased, though. We add it here and we add it here, so do you see what I'm saying? Are we still, is her increase is basically above and beyond the pay period is
Right.
46,000?
No,
No, it's still-
it's
it's
79,000, above what
Above
would
the
be
27.
including the pay period,
Yeah, that was my understanding too.
yeah.
Okay, so that means that is so you're saying that the difference in my overall budget without, if I didn't have, so I'd have $100 and some thousand
Yes,
increase.
it would be, it would be 107,000 increase.
If you included the
If you didn't-
27th budget
yeah,
period again.
If
or
you did,
payroll
yeah,
period.
we're starting from scratch. Your 14 budget was 769,430. So your total increase you're asking for is 107,000. 27,000 of that is the extra
Is
pay
the
period.
extra pay period.
So that's where we get back down to the
79.
79. Is that, yeah. And we know that, let's see, 45,000 of it is the retirement and the
And
supplies.
those two combined.
Right,
Right.
yeah. So we still have like 30-some thousand there. Or, I see, yeah.
Well, my budget, right, the current year budget is payroll, but I have a position, I have an intermittent that is in there, I think it's $8,000 that we put in that budget that we weren't going to use, but it was a balancing factor because all I had in there, so the current budget is, like I said, just is strictly payroll, and we will not use the intermittent portion. That's going to be calculated into the, and we'll have to use that for the rest of the budgets, or the rest of the salaries.
Right, okay.
The salary amount also does not count any wage increases.
Right.
Yeah,
If we consider that,
that's carved out.
No,
That's carved out in a
that's
different
not-
line,
that's not
yeah,
included.
right,
yeah. So now you do have an intermittent person here?
No, we don't.
Oh,
That was,
you don't.
that was budgeted in there in case Diana were to,
Let
if
me-
she would retire in there,
Okay.
and so there.
I
Let me
guess-
ask you a question, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, based on the employees you have right now that are
Mhm.
on your payroll, and that you have on here, are you gonna be able to fall within your budget for this year?
I hope I can.
So see, I think that may be part of it.
Because when I budgeted for 14, again, it was, with the anticipation that there we may or may not have a retirement, we may or may not have, that position available. And there's just, you can't, that part of it, I literally would have had to I cut a 3/4 time employee for this year, and I would have had to cut at least one and possibly 2 more employees, because I have employees who don't make, even with benefits, don't make $30,000. And so when I got that budget cut, I would have had to, and I still would have had no money for any other expenditures other than payroll.
Yeah, and I guess I'm just trying to determine, every department is facing the extra pay period.
Mhm.
So that's a
Right, yeah, that's-
given
Yeah,
to me.
exactly.
But what I'm trying to determine is your needs beyond that. And some departments have zero, they've created this flat budget. But with yours, you have additional needs for retirement, and you have additional needs for the 4,500 and the 2,835. And that adds up to me to 46,000.
Mhm.
I just want to make sure we're all on the same page, that's your needs above and beyond the extra pay period.
Yes.
Okay.
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 Do you have anything else, Shelley?
No,
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure I clarified that.
And I want to make sure that people understand what we're talking about on the 27th.
Yeah.
Payday is, we're on a bi-weekly payroll system, and I think it's every 11 years, we have a 27th payday. And the net effect on that, our budget, is it's an extra $2 million of expense that we have to adjust to. Another thing we have to recall is that our subsidy for Parks and Rec from the city is going to be $1 million less next year also. And we're not seeing that much as far as ad valorem tax increases for 2015. It is going to be a very difficult budget year. So I want to make sure people understand some of the constraints and the situation that we have to face. We increased property taxes last year pretty dramatically, almost to the tune of 10%, a double-digit percentage increase. And I don't want, with all due respect to Commissioner Cook, I don't want to be asking a lot of questions about if you had more money in your budget, what would you do? Because anybody worth their salt is going to have a lot of things that they could accomplish if they just had more money. That's just the case. And I don't want to send the message that, what your budget request, we may give you even more, because I don't think that's going to happen. Because I don't want to see us increase property taxes again this year. And so I don't want to make promises. With all due respect, Kevin, I just don't want to see us saying, what would you do if you had another $10,000 or $20,000 or $30,000 over what you requested? Because I don't think that's the message that we want to send. So you
But-
can rebut that, go right ahead. But
My
that's my thought.
And I understand and I respect that, but at the same time, if you are constantly telling a person no, are we withholding a potential cost-saving program? I think this is the only chance that the three of us get to have a candid discussion with every department head about their programs, their future, what ideas they might have. and I don't want to be stymied that we have missed out on an opportunity. I'm just as much aware of our realities as anybody else, but this is the only time we have that ability to forecast 5, 10, 15, or as I said this morning, 20 years. You know, sometimes we need to look at 20 years down the road, and because 20 years from now, we'll be there. Time will continue to pass every day, whether we like it or not.
Well, no, I appreciate that view. And not only is it the only opportunity we have to talk to department heads and elected officials, it's the only opportunity we have to talk to each other, actually. And that's another constraint that we have. A couple of quick questions. Just how much cross-training do you do within your office? And, you know, we were talking about payroll, and you have normal payroll, but then in the summertime, you would have a lot of intermittent people, and election season you would have. So that leads me to believe there's got to be some excess capacity in the payroll department at some point. How do you cross-train, and how does that work in the county clerk's office?
Well, we work closely with HR, of course, and because of the way we divide our duties, HR and my payroll division work with new employee orientation. And then but when it comes to the temporaries, the intermittent individuals, the HR has trained like Parks and Rec. They do their own orientation for those young people that are coming and working during the summer, which is an extensive time saver for them and for us. And of course, the way our system is set up, they actually enter the information, the employee information in, and when the department enters their payroll information in, and we can pull up that individual that's already in the system. I mean, every once in a while, you know, there's something missing, but we have a very good, you know, the software has saved us, you know, an untold number of hours, but the processes are such that they work longer on certain parts of it, but they still still manage to make it. Now, there's not very many $95 million businesses who have 2 people who do payroll and have 2 people who work in the HR department. That's almost unheard of. I was going to bring numbers, and then I thought it's just silly, but it really is. People are just amazed because my payroll doesn't just do payroll. I mean, they do life insurance, they do health insurance, they do disability, they work with the county counselor's office for work comp, capers. I mean, it's all inclusive. I mean, so it isn't it's not just, and like, you know, when you said have them go to another department, this has been approached one other time, but it's one of those, we're all, you know, there again too, we're all general fund departments. If you took payroll and took it to somebody that didn't take a general fund dollar, then you're talking, you know, then you're talking is shifting 2 employees from me to another department.
I wasn't talking about going to another department. You indicated that you had a 3/4 position you eliminated,
Right.
and that's what I mentioned, or was
yeah.
getting at for cross-training within the department, not going outside the
And,
department.
well, that individual was our scanner that
Okay.
he was
Okay.
doing, and it was, you know, working out quite well. And we also have accounts payable and payroll work together in when one needs assistance for the other. And the real estate administrative and economic development budget work on the, you know, they can kind of replace,
Interchangeable.
temporarily replace one another.
Okay, and that's what I wanted the public to know, Cindy, to tell you the truth. Last question I have is about the tax system, the new tax system. What's the status of implementation, and then how many man-hours will be saved in your office after it's fully implemented?
Like I said, I can give you 8 hours for sure. I know, we're going to say 8 man-hours on that one report.
Okay.
I know that as we go along, we're going to find more and more things that are going to be a cost savings in our time. However, as Ms. Greiner will attest, there's also things which this is without fail, any transition to a new software, there's also things that it just doesn't do. I mean, it doesn't do for us. And we're finding some of this out on, because like I said, we're just now getting on this part, my office is part of it. We're hoping that when we go to symposium that we will be able to plead our case, because they have a very democratic approach to things. All the counties that have their software get to come, and they all have one vote. And they all present their requests for implementations that are free. The software company picks them up for free. But if we can't convince, and I don't know how many there's, 13, 14, 20, whatever other counties, if we can't convince them, then we won't get ours for free. And there's not a lot of leeway in the budget for, that will be an enhancement, and that has a little dollar sign attached to it. So we all love salespeople. They just do such a wonderful job of telling us how good this is gonna do.
Mhm.
And, but we're also realistic and have our feet on the ground. But already, obviously, my staff is down from what it was over the years, and I've been here a long time, and the numbers of staff in each division are dropping because of, sometimes budget cuts, and sometimes we just didn't need to have it, so we just eliminated the position. I don't necessarily see that happening in real estate, but I do see us being much more efficient. There still is, we deal a lot with motor vehicle as well. Since we balance all of, for the distributions, there's still that paper trail that comes from them. You come into my office and you look straight ahead, and across from Lori Ray's desk, there will be stacks of documentation from the mover system. I don't know if that will ever be fixed. I don't know, or if they ever anticipated there being anything fixed. Because for the treasurer, it's all really great that they get their stuff, but we have to have this information, because if there's an error in the data we're looking at, we have to go back and research through that day's business. And it really is. It's a heck of a paper eater.
Okay.
So.
Anything else for County Clerk? Okay, thank you, Cindy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the information.